Hello, Econ 3040 student. In this video, I'm going to download a messy dataset and I'm going to clean it. Let us begin by downloading the dataset. And right off the bat, let's try to estimate a model. We see that we have a y variable and 3 x variables. Let's try putting them all in a model and see what happens. Some funny stuff is definitely going on in this model. There are a bunch of NAs, and it looks like there's way more than 3 variables. So we should take a look at the data set. Let's do that in spreadsheet form. And we see that there are some missing values, NAs, essentially blanks in the data set. So we are going to delete all of the rows that have a missing value anywhere in them. We are going to use the complete.cases function to do that. And keep an eye on the top right of my screen. You're going to see that this sample size of 30 is going to be reduced after I run this command. 4 observations disappeared. Let's take a look at that data set now. And we see that it looks like the blanks have gone, but we might have a problem with these missing and question mark values. But let's see what happens when we try to run the model. Yes, we still have a problem. There are a bunch of NAs and it just looks funny. Things aren't working. The issue is that R doesn't know what these question marks and what these missing words mean. So we are going to have to delete these rows manually. So this command is going to keep only the values that are not equal, or only the rows where x2 is not equal to 4 question marks. Let's run that command. And we'll see that we got rid of an extra 2 observations, and we'll do something similar to get rid of those rows with the word missing in them. And finally, let's take a look at the data set one more time. It looks pretty good at this point. So let's try running our model. And it still doesn't look very good. So the issue now is that R is treating this x2 variable as a character. Those question marks and the word missing, even though there were some numbers in that variable, the question marks and the missing cause the entire variable to be treated as a character string. So what we're going to do is we are going to coerce the x2 variable into a numerical value instead of a character string. I run this command, and notice in the top right of my screen, this x2 is going to go from CHR, which means character, it's going to change to num. So let's run that command. And there we go. It is now being treated as a number. The model is now going to work and look a lot better. So here we have our 3 x variables that we put into the model. Now finally, we're going to search and remove outliers. Now there's many ways to find outliers. You can take the max and the min of each one of the variables and make sure that everything makes sense. Make sure that the range of the variable is within what is reasonable. And another way to do it is also to just plot the data and see if anything looks funny. So when I plot the data, I am seeing that there are 2 values that are way out to the right from the rest of them. So actually these 2 values are 1 million and the rest of them are pretty low in comparison. So I need to make a decision on what is sensible for this x3 variable. And that would rely on your knowledge of how this variable works. So just for an example, let's say that it's only reasonable for x3 to be below 1,000. So I'm going to delete all rows where x is above 1,000. I'm going to keep only the ones that are small enough. So I'm going to run this command, and then again note that the sample size in the top right corner is going to decrease. So we've eliminated 10 observations total through this data cleaning. And finally, let's just plot this x3 variable one more time. And yes, the plot now looks a lot better, a lot more sensible. Okay, so that is we covered a few issues on how to clean a messy data set. I just want to mention one more thing. In your future work, you should be careful about deleting these rows where the values are missing. And the reason is that the variables might be missing for a reason. Take income for example. Why would an income variable be blank? It may be because the person makes a lot of money and they don't want to report how much money they make. So if you were to delete all rows where there was a missing value for income, you would be eliminating the highest income earners from your sample. And this would induce something called sample selection bias, and your sample may no longer be a fair representation of the population. So this is just something that I want you to keep in mind for your future work, but for the purposes of this course, you can just go ahead and delete all rows that have blank values. Thanks for watching, and I hope that this video was helpful.